kind of fascinating. The 19th century produced such powerful ideas. Marx and Nietzsche.
Oh, fascism too, for that matter.
Fascism.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if I was sitting there, like, especially if I'm feeling shitty about myself, a lot of these ideas are pretty powerful as a way to plug the nihilist hole.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Well, and some of them may actually have an appropriate scope of application. Like, it could be that some of the foundational axioms of communism, socialism / communism are actually functional in a sufficiently small social group, maybe a tribal group even. Like I also have I'm not sure this is correct, but I have a suspicion that the pervasive attractiveness of some of the radical left ideas that we're talking about are pervasive precisely because they are functional within, say, families, but also within the small tribal groups that people might have originally evolved into. And that once we become civilized, so we produce societies that are united, even among people who don't know one another, different principles have to apply as a consequence of scale. So that's partly an engineering response, but I think there's a deeper way of going after the communist problem. So I think part of the fundamental problem with the communist axioms is the notion that the world of complex social interactions can be simplified sufficiently so that centralized planning authorities can deal with it. And I think the best way to think about the free exchange rejoinder to that presumption is, no, the sum total of human interactions in a large civilization are so immense that you need a distributed network of cognition in order to compute the proper way forward. And so what you do is you give each actor their domain of individual choice so that they can maximize their own movement forward, and you allow the aggregate direction to emerge from that rather than trying to impose it from the top down, which I think is computationally impossible. So that might be one engineering reason why the communist solution doesn't work. Like I read in Solzhenitsyn, for example, that the Central Soviet authorities often had to make 200 pricing decisions a day. Now, if you've ever started a business or created a product and had to wrestle with the problem of pricing, you'd become aware of just how intractable that is. Like, how do you calculate worth? Well, there's the central existential problem of life. How do you calculate worth? It's not something like a central authority can sit down and just manage. And there is a lot of inputs that go into a pricing decision. And the free market answer to that is something like, well, if you get the price right, people will buy it and you'll survive.
This is a fascinating way to describe how ideas fail. So communism perhaps fails because just like with people who believe the earth is flat, when you look outside, it looks flat, but you can't see beyond the horizon, I guess. So
yeah, right.
In the same way with communism seems like a great idea in my family and my people I love, but it doesn't scale.
And it doesn't iterate.
It doesn't.
And that's a form of scaling too.
Right. Well, I mean, whatever ways it breaks down, it doesn't scale.
Yeah.
And you're saying religious thought is a thing that might scale.
I would say religious thought is the record of those ideas that have in fact scaled. Right.
And iterated.